I'm now going to work through some examples on subtracting decimals. The first one we have is 23.81 minus 8.65. I'm going to put my larger number down at the top, the first one in the sum. My 8.65, I'm going to write it down making sure I line up the decimal points up, and then all my other columns will line up basic around there. So I've written my sum down ready for me to answer the questions. 1 take away 5. Now you cannot take 5 away from 1, so you have to borrow. You borrow 1 from the number on the top row over to the left, so this one here. So I scrub the 8 out and I reduce it by 1, so it's no longer an 8 but it's a 7, and the one I've borrowed I put here. So this is now reading as 11 take away 5, and I can take 5 away from 11. I get an answer of 6. The next column is now 7 take away 6, which is 1. My next column is 3 take away 8, and I cannot take 8 away from 3. I haven't got enough there to start with. So I borrow 1 from here. So there's 2, it reduces by 1, so that becomes a 1, and the one I've borrowed goes here. This now reads as a 13. 13 take away 8 is 5. And in this column, 1 take away, there's nothing there, so 1 take away nothing is 1. My decimal points are in this position, so I put a decimal point back in. The answer to that question is 15.16. The next example I'm going to look at is 4.5, which I'll write down first of all. Take away 0.836. And I've made sure I've lined that up so the points are underneath each other. There are spaces here, and if you want to fill those in with zeros, well, you really need to in this example. So we'll fill those spaces up with zeros. Now in this column I have to do 0 take away 6. Well, I cannot take away 6 from nothing. I haven't got enough there to start with. So I need to borrow. So I move 1 over to the left. Well, there's nothing there. So in this case I can't borrow from here. I have to come over again and I borrow from here. So this number is going to be replaced. I knock 1 off that number, so instead of that being 5, that's 4. And you must make sure the one you've borrowed goes here on the next column to it. You can't jump straight over to here. So that 1 is now here, and that makes that a 10. Now that's a 10, I can borrow 1 from that 10, so that 10 gets scrubbed out and becomes a 9. I've reduced the 10 by 1, and the 1 I've borrowed goes over here. Now I've done my borrowing. 10 take away 6 is 4. 9 take away 3 is 6. 4 take away 8 I cannot do. I cannot take 8 away from 4. So I borrow 1 from here. That 4 goes down by 1 and becomes a 3. My borrowed 1 goes up here. This is now 14 take away 8, which is 6. 3 take away nothing is 3. My points are lined up here. So I'll put my decimal point in. The answer to that question, 3.664. The final example on subtracting is this one, where I have 239.8, which I'm taking away. So I'll put here a 0.0 to make it sort of fit. Make sure my decimal points are lined up correctly. You can put a 0.0 after any whole number. That's fine, it doesn't change its size or its value. Here, 0 take away 8. I can't take 8 things away from nothing, I haven't got enough. So I've got to borrow. So I come over here. But if it's a 0, I can't borrow from it, so I go over again. But that's a 0, I still can't borrow from it. So I come all the way over here to this 2, and I borrow 1 from it. So it goes down by 1, and the 1 I've borrowed goes here. That's now a 1. That's now a 10. But now there's a 10 there, I can borrow 1 from that 10, so that 10 goes down to a 9, and the borrowed 1 goes here to make this a 10. Then in turn I can borrow 1 from that 10, so that 10 gets crossed out and becomes a 9. I've knocked 1 off it, and the 1 I've knocked off it goes over here, making this a 10. So I've now got 10 take away 8, which is 2, 9 take away 9, which is 0, 9 take away 3, which is 6, 1 take away nothing, which is 1, My decimal points are in this position. So there's the answer to that question, 160.2.